Well, hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at a cylinder I recently purchased. I picked this up from the Duke's Saw Salvage. Usually get pretty good parts from him, and if they're not good, usually, you know, he'll make it right. We all know aftermarket stuff is kind of a hit or miss, but if you're not familiar, this ain't a plug or anything. I buy parts from a lot of places, but I buy a lot of parts from here. Use Wolf Creek Saw Shop a lot too, you know, as well as other vendors. But Wolf Creek and the Duke, probably the two main places I use. This is listed as a chrome-plated cylinder, and what is it for? It is for a Husky 288 XP. I've had a bunch of these here in the shop. Traded around on a bunch of them and built a bunch of them. Right now this is mine that I'd shown on the shelf a few videos back in the chainsaw collection video. If you've not seen that, be sure to go check that out. This is listed as a chrome plated cylinder, which is exactly what it looks like. But get a ring out if you're unfamiliar. 288 has it's a 1.5 millimeter ring. There's our wrist pin. Let me go ahead and pull that piston out. You can tell that's going to have good fitment. This saw had an OEM cylinder on it, but it was very, very questionable when I done it. And I'd done a bunch of experimental port work that made it kind of high strung. It still ran good. I've ran the saw a lot. It had some questionable places in it where it was once seized, and because of it being seized, when I pulled the cylinder off of the carcass it was on, it done some pretty good damage to the exhaust port, and I had to raise the exhaust port on it a mile. But I brought it in here and was going to try to make it more of a work saw, see if I could do enough machine work maybe to bring things back to that, you know, 28-inch bar. Hickory or oak kind of saw. And you know, if you were in softwood, I guess it would have been alright. Like I said, it was very, very zippy saw. Ran really good, but I wanted it to be more of a hardwood long bar saw for my liking. But when I got that cylinder in here, and I'm not even going to show it because, like I said, it has some experimental things in it I'd never tried, and it might have worked, might not have, but it's not something I would want to take out in the woods and work with. But first off, we'll have a look at the piston, and this saw did have a Duke's moly coated piston, but I just slid it in the cylinder that I removed from the saw. I have another carcass over there that's kind of seized, missing a bunch of stuff, and we may get that in here in the future and see if we can get it apart and at least put the bottom end of one together. But piston looks pretty good. It got your typical kind of sharp edges that you would get. It's not bad though. I've seen a lot worse. You just put that right in and use it, but I usually take it'll about shave you. Usually take a cartridge roll and clean all that up. Make everything nice and uniform. We'll check the wrist pin fitment. That's real nice. That's about what you want. I can't stand having to sit and drive one in. Usually if they're that tight, I'll polish that pin until they slide in like that. It's just preference on what you like and what you want to deal with. I guess husqvarna style circlips, the tang on them, those don't look real bad, but we'll probably still trim them down. You don't want to cut that all the way off. It's up to you whether you want to trim them back or not, but the circlips he sends with these, I think they're piano wire. Usually really, really stiff. But usually I'll trim some of that tang back, but in most cases a Husky piston does not have a relief like a steel piston. Like a notch, if you cut that tang all the way off, you'll have a fit getting it back apart, asking me how I know. Ports, we'll start with the intake. It's not bad. There's room for improvement. Port alignment looks pretty good on it. We have seen on this channel some aftermarket cylinders with some horrible port alignment. Transfer ports look real nice. Uppers look pretty good. We even got an okay bevel on it. Like I said, I don't know, I've not looked at this a whole lot yet, but I think you could just use this without working on it. And what I mean by that, you guys know a lot of the aftermarket cylinders you get, you about have to go over and do a mild woods port on them before you can even use them. But this one's not looking bad. We'll get another look at that intake. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. And as far as the squish band combustion chamber, looks like the plating does go up about to the band. Yeah, we can do a little machine work there. That's a good thing. Exhaust port, again, not bad at all. Again, on this channel, you guys that have followed me and seen me unbox these things, we've seen a lot worse, and this one, for the price, I think shipping and all here to the door was like a little over 50 bucks. Pretty damn nice looking cylinder. I like the way the plating looks in it. Let's hope it times out good, because if so, you know, this is going to be a win. Notice, you know, the chrome plating's out on the outside of the cylinder. Pretty nice looking piece. The threads and everything look good. Bolt hole alignments, if I move my hands out of the way, look pretty damn good. Well, guys, we're honest here. We are. I paid for this with my own money, so it is what it is. But we have an issue, and I've already wallowed these holes out a little bit to see if it would help, but for some reason the bolt holes are kind of out pretty bad. If I start one, I can't start another. I've tried it all around, and like I said, I've already took a small deburring bit and went around, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. See what's up, because the bolt holes are out of line on this cylinder. Yeah, so it took a little longer to get those wallowed out than I thought, but she's just spinning smooth, so we're good there. Again, if you pick this up, it could have misaligned holes on the base of it. Ain't the end of the world. That's honestly the first one I've seen do that. But I did get a Farmer Tech 272 cylinder here, and it wouldn't even fit down into the saw. I don't even remember what I done with that. But, well, it's going to have decent squish, because that's a 30 thou electrical solder. Got pretty good squish on it. I bet it's pretty good there, but 26 thou, that's not half bad depending on where the exhaust reef is at. That thing would have a decent thump to it. Let me take just a minute and get the degree finder on. I'll bring you guys back. Alrighty guys, unless I run into something else other than having to wallow out those holes to get them aligned up. And this is not an aftermarket set of cases, if somebody wondered that. This is the real deal. It's a, you can probably tell by looking at it. It is an actual 288 XP, but man, this thing has some really good numbers to work with. Someone might not think so if you was wanting to remove a ton of material from the squish band and base, but it really doesn't need it. I really only do that to move numbers around or to gain like intake duration. If it's got an intake I can't really grind on a lot, or if the exhaust reef's like really high up, which would mean a numerically lower number. That's usually why I do machine work, or if I don't like the squish band, or you know, other than your basic cutting the base to set squish. But dead on 74 on the intake. This saw can handle more timing than that. We probably won't go a lot more than that, but it's like 104 dead even on the exhaust port, and all these numbers are checked at exactly 10 thousandths, and you know, we're using the digital degree finder. It's actually an angle finder mounted to like a 1/2 inch chuck. You can either make these, or it's just easier just to go pick one up from Dyno Joe. They're not even really that expensive. We got dead on 122 on the transfers. You know, that's not a real like spicy, racy exhaust roof for a 87cc chainsaw, but you get that thing widened out, get it shaped right. You can make a bigger saw run really, really well with a lower exhaust roof. You know, 18 blowdown, and you know, we got 148 total degrees of duration on the intake port. Not bad numbers. 26 thou squish. Honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and remove whatever it takes from the squish band to clean it up, make it look nice. Get the plating overspill off of it, recut the base, and see where that lands us at on our port timing, but I can guarantee you none of it's going to be moved very far. I will raise the exhaust roof, but it's not going to be what you think. I know these things are really, really strong with an exhaust roof around 100. Anyway, guys, there'll be some more videos on this. Thank y'all for watching. If you've hung around this far, give us a thumbs up. If you ain't followed the channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell. I ain't been videoing as much as I used to video, but it's about to turn cold. You know, snowy, wet days. We'll be here in the shop shooting video, I guess. So, y'all have a good one.